We can listen to that. Patrick Patrikios Vishnu. Patrick Patrikios. Alright, we've got a few people watching already. I'm going to play something I recorded earlier today, and once a few more people show up, I'll play it again if need be. So let's see, it's going to be in my sent mail. And here we are. Just play it right here.
Hey everybody.
Yes.
KMO here. And Danger Dead Nettles sent me something from Dmitry Orlov today, and I read it, and I nodded at parts, and kind of rolled my eyes at parts, and I was going to come here and just read the whole thing to you, figuring Dmitry wouldn't mind. I mean, if it's a publicly available post, so what if I, put it to music, as it were. And then I was situated here at my computer, microphone ready to go, and I noticed, oh no, this is a patrons-only post. Even I shouldn't have seen this. So I'm not going to read it to you. But I will summarize parts of it for you. And basically, Dmitry, he lays out a scenario. He's asking questions and then providing answers. Like, suppose you are the evil masterminds behind the global economy, and you've got some problems that you want to solve. What do you do? What are the problems, and what do you do about them? Well, one of the problems is peak oil. So, his position is pretty familiar to anybody who's, been in the peak oil scene, that fracking, while it has kept things going much longer than anticipated, can't go on forever, and that most fracking companies fail, and that the party will soon be over, and that's a problem. So what does this virus, which is not particularly dangerous on its own, most of the people who die from it probably would have died from something else pretty soon. What does this virus get us? Us, the global elite. Well, it allows us to put the economy into a medically induced coma. And also, by propagating fear of infection, we're getting people to move out of the cities, to disperse themselves across the landscape, and we're sifting. We're finding out who can telecommute and who can't, whose labor is actually necessary and whose isn't. But not only is the plan to distribute people around the country, get them to disperse from the cities, go out into the hinterlands and work from there. Once the spreading is effected, then you want to lock things down so people can't travel easily. And this is a point I've heard Dimitri make before, just even in face-to-face conversation, that gasoline is really almost a waste byproduct of the petroleum distillation process, which gives us the actual necessary fuels that are jet fuel and bunker fuel and diesel fuel, to run planes, trains, and automobiles. But big automobiles, trucks, lorries, as you Brits would say. And now that the economy has slowed down and less of those actually essential fuels are necessary, there's no real need to keep people driving around in cars to, take up the what otherwise would have been a waste product, the gasoline. Now, another benefit of distributing people out across the countryside, and rather than having them clustered in cities, is people who are thinly distributed, like I am here, in southern Vermont, they can't really protest. They can't really riot. There's just not the population density necessary to engage in those sorts of activities, which can be threatening to the power of the global elites, or the evil geniuses, as he calls them in this post. Now, the goal of the evil geniuses here is to perpetuate the system. The system as it is constituted and, running at the scale that it was running at before COVID-19 was unsustainable in the extreme. Like, the cliff edge was approaching visibly. So what's the plan? The plan is to shut down parts of the economy that are not necessary to, the well-being of the evil geniuses, and to keep other parts of the economy, which is of use to the evil geniuses, not only up and running, but still growing. So what needs to be shut down? Well, global tourism needs to be shut down. And the virus has done a great job at, throttling the airlines and depressing hotels and just about everybody, every other sort of business that depends on routine global pleasure travel. He says that cruise ships are being cut up for scrap metal. And he also, you might say asserts, you might say postulates, he's just spinning a scenario here. And in this scenario that he's spinning, which is seemingly congruent with observable facts on the ground, that one of the essential ingredients in getting people to run away from the cities is to let crime and the sort of protests we've seen this year run rampant. That drives the rich people away, it drives the conservative people away, the cautious people, the people who are, who don't want to be associated with that sort of civil unrest and disturbance, who don't want to be subject to it and who certainly don't want to participate in it. It prompts them to insulate themselves and to make themselves not dependent on the cities. Which, again, is great for the powers that be. Go live in the woods, go live in your commune, unplug as much as you can from the system, which is to say, release the system from any obligation you thought it owed you to help sustain you. That's a point I've been making forever, is that, turning on, tuning in, and dropping out is great for the man when the man's job is to provide for everybody and the man doesn't have the will, the wherewithal, or the skills to do so. Another benefit to this plan is that when you deliberately encourage cities to collapse into chaos under rioting and looting and protests, that what you're doing is you're encouraging the criminal class, basically young men with nothing to lose and lots of testosterone and no girlfriends, and that's my addition, no girlfriends, and really nothing materially to lose from going out and battling the police or whatever. this is an invitation for the criminal class who can be legally enslaved in the United States under the 13th Amendment to raise their hand, step forward. Who would like to be the new slave labor? So in cities which are thoroughly surveilled, not only with cameras, but cameras that are powered by AI with facial recognition and all sorts of machine learning algorithms which can take all manner of data from different sources and turn it into a step-by-step, turn-by-turn timeline of where any individual has been in recent history. It is very easy to identify the criminals and to hunt them down, capture them, and put them to work at either no pay or $1 an hour or $1 a day, something absurd. Slave wages. So one of the points of putting the global economy into this, deliberately induced economic coma is it's basically a stress test to see which economies are stable enough and robust enough to endure this and emerge from it. And another thing it does is it gives the evil geniuses time to solve some major problems which have been vexing them for some time. For example, the longevity of the population. People are living longer. They're scheduled to spend much longer in retirement which is to be funded by retirement programs, retirement funds, pension plans, things that were designed in an era where people didn't live nearly as long. They don't really work when people are living 2-3 extra decades. Those people either need to get back to work or they need to die, but they can't just sit in retirement for decades at a time. Retirement was never meant to sustain people for decades at a time. Another problem, according to Dimitri, a problem for the evil geniuses, is automation. We have too much of it. We need to shift production, we need to shift physical production back to manual labor. At the same time, the elites still definitely need artificial intelligence. And one of the reasons they need artificial intelligence is they want to dumb down the population in order to prevent them from, effecting any sort of resistance to this plan. So human intellectual activity will increasingly be taken up by AI running on cloud servers somewhere. But in terms of, robots making stuff, better to train the monkeys to turn the wrenches themselves. And finally, the problem of reclustering. Once you have sifted the economies to see which ones sink and which ones are able to swim, at least, in this circumstance, then you want to take the winners and you want to cluster them together into, new alliances, new supply chains, new cultural and economic cooperative arrangements. And to just discard the rest. And that reminds me of Peter Zion's notion that, the United States, which for the latter half of the 20th century and well into the first 2 decades of the 21st century, has been the guarantor of safe passage on the high seas. Anybody can travel the seas, and you don't need armed escorts for your commercial vehicles. You can just set out from anywhere to anywhere, pretty much, and you don't have to worry about fending off, armed attacks. There are a couple notable examples when big oil tankers cruise, down the eastern coast of Africa. There's a lot of very poor people there who have discovered that the tanker companies have no appetite whatsoever for armed conflict and would rather just pay the ransom, whatever it is. But for the most part, people can ship from anywhere to anywhere. And Peter Zion's scenario that he spins out is that the U.S. is going to step back from that obligation, and we're really only going to protect the shipments to our major trading partners. And two of our biggest trading partners, our most important trading partners, they're connected to us by land. We don't need ocean transport so much to move goods from Canada and Mexico into the United States and vice versa. But the U.S. will still be committed to South Korea and Japan, and thus, and also committed to controlling the Pacific because that's our doorstep, and also to, stifle the ambitions of China to invade or otherwise reacquire Taiwan. So again, I've shifted here from Dmitry Orlov to Peter Zion, but back to Dmitry Orlov. So, the way he's framed this, there are evil geniuses that run the global economy, except for China and Russia, who are the resistance to this evil global cabal of geniuses. But I was reminded of the right-wing conspiracy narrative around Agenda 21. And the idea there was that large parts of, the less inhabited parts of the countryside will be completely cleared out. Everybody will be forced into the cities where they will be, carefully surveilled and monitored. And part of the Agenda 21 conspiracy narrative is that, the evil geniuses are also environmentalists, and they want humans to vacate the landscape so that the landscape can regenerate itself. And there's no hint of that I can detect in Dimitri's scenario here. And the interesting distinction I saw between the two was that, the Agenda 21 notion is that people will be forced into cities. And Dimitri's narrative is that people who can flee the cities, who have the means to flee the cities, are being encouraged to do so. And that they will largely be, the intellectual class anyway, the people who will be doing the sorts of work that can be done from anywhere via Zoom conference and file uploads and, all the tools that we've become accustomed to here in 2020. So I kind of see Dimitri's scenario here as Agenda 21 updated for people who don't have the certain set of cultural values and assumptions that are built into the red tribe here in the United States. The idea that environmentalism at all levels is either misguided or, downright evil, because it stymies the human ability to work hard, acquire property, acquire capital, and improve oneself and improve one's life and the lives of one's family and loved ones and community. Now that I've, openly compared Dimitri's scenario here to Agenda 21, you could reasonably wonder, if I'm dismissing it as a conspiracy theory. But as I've outlined elsewhere, I probably don't need to go into it again. I think that the idea that you can shut down an idea or discredit it just with the use of that phrase, conspiracy theory, is, it is not respectable discourse. That's a rhetorical trick, a cheap rhetorical trick, to which I give no weight at all. Dismissing something as a conspiracy narrative simply because, it does not accord with the official narrative. So I think what I'm going to do now is just edit down this monologue a little bit, and I'm going to play it at the beginning of my daily drawing live stream. And I'll see what the people in the chat and what the scheduled guests have to say in response to it, and then I will include some of that feedback into my next recording session. So prepare for a jump forward in time starting right now.
All right, here we are, 17 minutes into the live stream. That was a pre-recorded message, obviously. And I don't know who heard it, but Dryland Fish is in the chat. Where'd the chat go? There it is. What do you think, Dryland Fish? Is this pandemic much ado about nothing in order to control the rabble? Let's see. Edward, I am back in the chat, and I heard it. All right. What are your comments, Ed? I have a question about it. What is the Latin term for reasoning backwards? Latin term for reasoning backwards. Not sure. Oh, post hoc ergo prompter hoc? Or propter hoc? Just because one thing came before the other, that the first thing caused the other? Is that what you're talking about? All right, so now down to this. Let's see. I will try to express what I mean. If I throw up a bunch of colored sticks and they fall to the ground, there will be a discernible pattern in the chaotic arrangement. One could analyze that arrangement and come up with a very convincing argument that the arrangement of sticks shows signs that they are left in that arrangement because of intelligent decision. Yeah, that's your sticks have become an oracle. You can use sheep entrails or knuckle bones or any manner of, irregular shapes that you scatter randomly and, look into it and try to discern patterns and, think that those patterns are from some supernatural agency. So, in the dynamic world of human affairs, Alexa, how do you spell discrete?
Discrete is spelled Discrete.
All right, what do we got? Dryland fish, discrete or discrete? Oh, I didn't know there were two different words with that same pronunciation. Let's see. Individually, separate, and distinct. Oh, no, that's not what I want. No, I want as in discretion is the better part of valor. Careful or circumspect in one's speech and actions. Yeah, that's the one I want. Thank you. Thank you, Dryland Fish. Yeah. You are smarter than the robot. I don't mean that as a backhanded compliment. Oh, come on. All right, back to the chat. I'm intrigued by such suppositions as presented by Mr. Orloff, but I kind of need more than supposition. I need more solid evidence. In other words, dots are there and can be connected. But the connections that make the pattern can often be in the mind of the beholder. I need more than an intriguing supposition to accept such conclusions into my reality model. End of commentary. Right on. Ed says, "Hi, Les. I think I missed out on some interesting talk. You missed out on some Dmitry Orlov," says Ed. All right. Well, Les, I've invited you to send me an email so I can share back-channel communication with you. So if you want to send me an email, here it is. Here's my email address. I will send you a link to the recording that I just played, and you can listen to it and comment. All right, now. Mm-hmm. Come on.
Okay.
Hey, I hear peoples.
No, you don't hear anything. You're imagining this.
Excellent. My imagination has become most vivid.
Well, that's good.
So,
Glad to.
you're on the live stream. People can hear you.
I'm on the live stream. Hello.
Who are you?
Who am I? Good question. I've been trying to figure that out now for a good many years. I think my name's Bronwyn.
Okay. We're stepping out of the shadows.
Yep.
Right on.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So, did you? Do you have the stream open?
No, I don't think I do.
Okay.
Wait, you mean on the? Where do I go to do that?
I will post a link in the Zoom chat.
Oh, in the chat here,
Yeah.
the Zoom chatter.
The Zoom chatter, yes. YouTube, that's the name of the site. Couldn't bring it to mind. Here we are. And and you can see me. Hi.
I can see you.
Yeah, I don't have Zoom on. It's not at the front of my my
It's
stat.
not at the front of your screen, but I
Right.
can see you. I don't know if you can see me.
I can right now. The stream viewers cannot.
Okay, probably just as well they don't see me.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Just kidding.
Well, I can drag this window over and put you on the monitor that everybody's seeing. It's really up to you.
Well, maybe at a certain point that would be fun.
Okay. For now, let's just find the chat. There it is. All right. So when you open this page, you'll want to mute it immediately.
Do what?
You'll want to mute this page immediately.
Okay, so I'm going to open it now and then mute it.
Yeah. But you
All
should be
right.
able to see the chat.
Okay. Now I can't see you.
That's okay. You know what I look like.
So open it.
Mm-hmm. And then mute.
Open it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then mute.
And then mute.
There's the mute. Okay, I think I've muted.
All right. Now, can you see the chat?
I can.
All right.
Yeah, well, maybe I should say something. Is that the chat?
I haven't seen anything from you yet in the chat.
Oh.
Yep, there you are. Move it. Yoga and fitness with Bronwyn. Yes. All right. You are integrated. You are integrated into the stream. So here, let me go back and I will read what Edward has said in response. Actually, I think for the benefit of some people who came in late, I'm just going to play the whole thing again. So take notes. I just had it on screen. Let's see. Too much stuff.
Too much stuff.
Where is that?
Can you still hear me on Zoom?
I can only hear you on Zoom because I have
Okay, good.
I have the stream
Thank
muted
heaven.
as well.
So if I swear and stuff, you'll only hear me now.
No, I mean everybody on the live stream will hear you, but that's fine.
Oh, great.
You're welcome to swear, no problem.
Or if I start doing handstands and things, I'll start grunting, and I'm kidding. Start working out in the background.
So is it
No.
just you or is Sean gonna join us?
No, Sean is working like a hard-working guy that he is. No, he couldn't be here, unfortunately.
Okay.
He's actually, I just came from there too. I was cleaning a house where he's working, doing carpentry.
Okay, here we are. So we're going to hear this once more.
Hey everybody, KMO here. And Danger Dead Nettles sent me something from Dmitry Orlov today, and I read it, and I nodded at parts, and kind of rolled my eyes at parts, and I was going to come here and just read the whole thing to you, figuring Dmitry wouldn't mind. I mean, if it's a publicly available post, so what if I, put it to music, as it were. And then I was situated here at my computer, microphone ready to go, and I noticed, oh no, this is a patrons-only post. Even I shouldn't have seen this. So I'm not going to read it to you, but I will summarize parts of it for you. And basically, Dmitri, he lays out a scenario. He's asking questions and then providing answers. Like, suppose you are the evil masterminds behind the global economy, and you've got some problems that you want to solve. What do you do? What are the problems, and what do you do about them? Well, one of the problems is peak oil. So, his position is pretty familiar to anybody who's, been in the peak oil scene, that fracking, while it has kept things going much longer than anticipated, can't go on forever, and that, most fracking companies fail, and that, the party will soon be over. And that's a problem. So what does this virus, which is not particularly, dangerous on its own, most of the people who die from it probably would have died from something else pretty soon. What does this virus get us? Us, the global elite. Well, it allows us to put the economy into a medically induced coma. And also, by, propagating fear of infection, we're getting people to move out of the cities, to disperse themselves across the landscape, and we're sifting. We're finding out who can telecommute and who can't, whose labor is actually necessary and whose isn't. But not only is the plan to distribute people around the country, get them to disperse from the cities, go out into the hinterlands and work from there. Once the spreading is effected, then you want to lock things down so people can't travel easily. And this is a point I've heard Dmitri make before, just even in, face-to-face conversation, that gasoline is really almost a waste byproduct of the petroleum distillation process, which gives us the actual necessary fuels that are jet fuel and bunker fuel and diesel fuel, to run planes, trains, and automobiles. But big automobiles, trucks, lorries, as you Brits would say. And now that the economy has slowed down and less of those actually essential fuels are necessary, there's no real need to keep people driving around in cars to, take up the what otherwise would have been a waste product, the gasoline. Now, another benefit of distributing people out across the countryside, and rather than having them clustered in cities, is people who are thinly distributed, like I am here, in southern Vermont, they can't really protest. They can't really riot. There's just not the population density necessary to engage in those sorts of activities, which can be threatening to the power of the global elites, or the evil geniuses, as he calls them in this post. Now, the goal of the evil geniuses here is to perpetuate the system. The system as it is constituted and, running at the scale that it was running at before COVID-19 was unsustainable in the extreme. Like, the cliff edge was approaching visibly. So what's the plan? The plan is to shut down parts of the economy that are not necessary to, the well-being of the evil geniuses, and to keep other parts of the economy, which is of use to the evil geniuses, not only up and running, but still growing. So what needs to be shut down? Well, global tourism needs to be shut down. And the virus has done a great job at, throttling the airlines and depressing hotels and just about everybody, every other sort of business that depends on routine global pleasure travel. He says that cruise ships are being cut up for scrap metal. And he also, you might say asserts, you might say postulates, he's just spinning a scenario here. And in this scenario that he's spinning, which is seemingly congruent with observable facts on the ground, that one of the essential ingredients in getting people to run away from the cities is to let crime and the sort of protests we've seen this year run rampant. That drives the rich people away, it drives the conservative people away, the cautious people, the people who are, who don't want to be associated with that sort of civil unrest and disturbance, who don't want to be subject to it and who certainly don't want to participate in it. It prompts them to insulate themselves and to make themselves not dependent on the cities. Which, again, is great for the powers that be. Go live in the woods, go live in your commune, unplug as much as you can from the system, which is to say, release the system from any obligation you thought it owed you to help sustain you. That's a point I've been making forever, is that, turning on, tuning in, and dropping out is great for the man when the man's job is to provide for everybody and the man doesn't have the will, the wherewithal, or the skills to do so. Another benefit to this plan is that when you deliberately encourage cities to collapse into chaos under rioting and looting and protests, that what you're doing is you're encouraging the criminal class, basically young men with nothing to lose and lots of testosterone and no girlfriends, and that's my addition, no girlfriends, and really nothing materially to lose from going out and battling the police or whatever. You basically, this is an invitation for the criminal class who can be legally enslaved in the United States under the 13th Amendment to raise their hand, step forward. Who would like to be the new slave labor? So in cities which are thoroughly surveilled, not only with cameras, but cameras that are powered by AI with facial recognition and all sorts of machine learning algorithms which can take all manner of data from different sources and turn it into a step-by-step, turn-by-turn timeline of where any individual has been in recent history. It is very easy to identify the criminals and to hunt them down, capture them, and put them to work at either no pay or $1 an hour or $1 a day, something absurd. Slave wages. So one of the points of putting the global economy into this, deliberately induced economic coma is it's basically a stress test to see which economies are stable enough and robust enough to endure this and emerge from it. And another thing it does is it gives the evil geniuses time to solve some major problems which have been vexing them for some time. For example, the longevity of the population. People are living longer. They're scheduled to spend much longer in retirement which is to be funded by retirement programs, retirement funds, pension plans, things that were designed in an era where people didn't live nearly as long. They don't really work when people are living 2-3 extra decades. Those people either need to get back to work or they need to die, but they can't just sit in retirement for decades at a time. Retirement was never meant to sustain people for decades at a time. Another problem, according to Dimitri, a problem for the evil geniuses, is automation. We have too much of it. We need to shift production, we need to shift physical production back to manual labor. At the same time, the elites still definitely need artificial intelligence. And one of the reasons they need artificial intelligence is they want to dumb down the population in order to prevent them from, effecting any sort of resistance to this plan. So human intellectual activity will increasingly be taken up by AI running on cloud servers somewhere. But in terms of, robots making stuff, better to train the monkeys to turn the wrenches themselves. And finally, the problem of reclustering. Once you have sifted the economies to see which ones sink and which ones are able to swim, at least, in this circumstance, then you want to take the winners and you want to cluster them together into, new alliances, new supply chains, new cultural and economic cooperative arrangements. And to just discard the rest. And that reminds me of Peter Zion's notion that, the United States, which for the latter half of the 20th century and well into the first 2 decades of the 21st century, has been the guarantor of safe passage on the high seas. Anybody can travel the seas, and you don't need armed escorts for your commercial vehicles.
Vessels.
You can just set out from anywhere to anywhere, pretty much, and you don't have to worry about fending off, armed attacks. There are a couple notable examples when big oil tankers cruise, down the eastern coast of Africa. There's a lot of very poor people there who have discovered that the tanker companies have no appetite whatsoever for armed conflict and would rather just pay the ransom, whatever it is. But for the most part, people can ship from anywhere to anywhere. And Peter Zion's scenario that he spins out is that the U.S. is going to step back from that obligation, and we're really only going to protect the shipments to our major trading partners. And two of our biggest trading partners, our most important trading partners, they're connected to us by land. We don't need ocean transport so much to move goods from Canada and Mexico into the United States and vice versa. But the U.S. will still be committed to South Korea and Japan, and thus, and also committed to controlling the Pacific because that's our doorstep, and also to, stifle the ambitions of China to invade or otherwise reacquire Taiwan. So again, I've shifted here from Dmitry Orlov to Peter Zion, but back to Dmitry Orlov. So the way he's framed this, there are evil geniuses that run the global economy, except for China and Russia, who are the resistance to this evil global cabal of geniuses. But I was reminded of the right-wing conspiracy narrative around Agenda 21. And the idea there was that large parts of, the less inhabited parts of the countryside will be completely cleared out. Everybody will be forced into the cities where they will be, carefully surveilled and monitored. And part of the Agenda 21 conspiracy narrative is that, the evil geniuses are also environmentalists, and they want humans to vacate the landscape so that the landscape can regenerate itself. And there's no hint of that I can detect in Dimitri's scenario here. And the interesting distinction I saw between the two was that, the Agenda 21 notion is that people will be forced into cities. And Dimitri's narrative is that people who can flee the cities, who have the means to flee the cities, are being encouraged to do so. And that they will largely be, class anyway, the people who will be doing the sorts of work that can be done from anywhere via Zoom conference and file uploads and, all the tools that we've become accustomed to here in 2020. So I kind of see Dimitri's scenario here as Agenda 21 updated for people who don't have the certain set of cultural values and assumptions that are built into the red tribe here in the United States. The idea that environmentalism at all levels is either misguided or, downright evil. Because it stymies the human ability to work hard, acquire property, acquire capital, and improve oneself, and improve one's life and the lives of one's family and loved ones and community. Now that I've, openly compared Dimitri's scenario here to Agenda 21, you could reasonably wonder, if I'm dismissing it as a conspiracy theory. But as I've outlined elsewhere, I probably don't need to go into it again. I think that the idea that you can shut down an idea or discredit it just with the use of that phrase, conspiracy theory, is, it is not respectable discourse. That's a rhetorical trick, a cheap rhetorical trick, to which I give no weight at all. Dismissing something as a conspiracy narrative simply because, it does not accord with the official narrative. So I think what I'm going to do now is just edit down this monologue a little bit, and I'm going to play it at the beginning of my daily drawing live stream. And I'll see what the people in the chat and what the scheduled guests have to say in response to it, and then I will include some of that feedback into my next recording session. So prepare for a jump forward in time starting right now.
All right. So it is now. Now is the time. So, Bronwyn.
Yes?
What thoughts leapt to mind as you heard that?
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
I have never heard of Dimitri before, so that was an introduction to me. Is this a friend of yours, KMO?
He is somebody with whom I am personally acquainted, yeah.
Oh. No, I was just curious just because it's not that I would expect myself to know who this person was, but it was an interesting theory he has about the pandemic. I had a couple questions that I feel like I should do some research before I actually comment, but
I bet you could ask the questions right now, and Les and Ed and maybe Dryland Fish here in the chat would have good answers.
Sure. Well, you and or he keeps referring to these evil geniuses, and I wish there was specificity around who the evil geniuses are, or who he is referring to specifically, rather than just this sort of blanketed statement of evil genius. So I had that question. And then the other question was, I need to refresh my mind on what the 13th Amendment stands for, which is interesting because I've recently started rereading the Constitution. So which is not an easy read in case you decide you wish to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like reading the Bible.
Yeah, it's similar to the Bible. That'll be the next one.
Often quoted, little read. Yeah. So the 13th Amendment was meant to flee the slaves, but what it really did was made corporations into humans or into people, persons.
Yes. And then.
But it states. I mean, let's just look it up. I'll read you the text.
Let's look it up. Let's just look it up.
Let's see. 13th Amendment. It states, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So basically, it outlaws slavery or involuntary servitude except for prisoners. If you've been arrested and convicted, then you can be enslaved, and it's perfectly kosher with the Constitution.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, gee, I know some incarcerated individuals. I'm sure they do feel like slaves, particularly right now, but if they're still in jail. But actually, incarcerated individuals still feel like slaves and prisoners even after they've come out of incarceration, just simply because of the way all the difficulties they put in your path to make yourself become a more normal citizen. Yep. They certainly don't make it easy for you to reform yourself back into society. And then, of course, society isn't very welcoming. From my experience of people, close friends, and people that I know who've been incarcerated, it doesn't. Even if the reform system was better, I think society's feelings around people who've been in jail are not very welcoming, and they don't necessarily offer much I can't think of the word, but welcoming is maybe the best word I can come up with right now. Well, I mean, he has an interesting point about what he's talking about. I suppose there are a few things that I've sort of, things I've heard before from other conspiracy theories about the pandemic and about COVID-19. I've certainly listened to Alex Jones and some of his conspiracy theories about the pandemic. And I don't discount them, and I don't consider, just because somebody says it's conspiracy theory, I actually look things up and fact check things. So if somebody calls it a conspiracy theory, that's just an opinion. I sometimes actually think some of these conspiracy theories are truth. And I think it's the denial of the general public to want to believe that our government would be doing such horrible things to us, but why wouldn't they? So yeah, I don't know. I have mixed opinions about many things. I also don't know what Agenda 21 is. That was another question mark that I wanted to take time to look up, but haven't had the moment to do it.
Well, why don't you go ahead and look it up now, and I'm going to read through the comments of people who have been
yeah, sure. I have not had a chance to read them since I've been gabbing, talking too much.
All right.
Oh, yes. Okay, I see. Evil geniuses. Schwab, Soros, Gates. Yeah, okay, I agree. Those could be definitely evil geniuses. What about big tech? I consider them evil geniuses right now.
Yeah.
Big tech, Google, Facebook, Twitter. We could certainly take those three folks off the map. Of course, everybody would shit their pants because they'd be like, "Oh my God, I don't have internet, social media. Oh no." Sorry, I have really bad opinions about social media and big tech at the moment, because they're censoring a lot of voices that I think should be heard. But I won't go there. Let me Google. Speaking of Google, let's Google Agenda 21.
Well, let me spare you the effort. I've got the Wikipedia page up.
Oh, geez.
Agenda 21. Agenda 21 is a non-binding action plan of the United Nations with regard to sustainable development. It is a product of the Earth Summit, UN Conference on Environment and Development, held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 1992. It is an action agenda for the UN and other multilateral organizations and individual governments around the world that can be executed at local, national, and global levels. One major objective of the Agenda 21 initiative is that every local government should draw its own local Agenda 21. Its aim initially was to achieve global sustainable development by 2000, with the 21 in the agenda referring to the original target of the 21st century. So that's the above-the-folds definition on Wikipedia, but now I'm skipping down to the conspiracy theories section. And it reads, far right-wing groups. Now, remember, Wikipedia is an extreme left-wing organization, so anything having to do with the right wing, they're going to slant it really hard. So this is the Wikipedia take on the right-wing take on Agenda 21. Far right-wing groups, including the John Birch Society, assert that Agenda 21 is part of a scheme using environmental protection as a cover to impose a worldwide dictatorship. During her 2014 U.S. Senate campaign, Joni Ernst promoted a conspiracy theory claiming Agenda 21 would force Iowa farmers off their land and into the cities. So the Agenda 21, the right-wing conspiracy theory version of Agenda 21 is governments are going to push everybody into cities. They're going to make all wilderness areas no-go places for humans so that the wilderness can recover. And people living in the cities will be living under heavy surveillance. So it's the Alex Jones globalist long-term assault on individual freedom. So the fact that you've been listening to Alex Jones, but you haven't heard of Agenda 21, just shows that you haven't been listening to Alex Jones very long.
I don't listen to him all the time. I only listen to little bits and pieces because it's more things that my partner listens to. But I've heard of Agenda 21, but I haven't done a deep dive into any of the conspiracy thoughts. I have my own thoughts about what I think about what's going on in the country and with our government, but I don't always scroll through things and listen to stuff because I don't have time, because I'm trying to be an artist and like earn a living, which I have none right now. So like between running around trying to like earn an income, which is non-existent, and then do my own art, I have a hard time keeping up with all of the things I want to listen to in terms of podcasts and conspiracy theories and whatnot. But from my own observance of what's been happening since last February, I have my own opinions, but they're only my opinions. And sometimes I refrain to say all my opinions simply because they're controversial. And I'm very interested in what you sent me, and I would like to probably do a little more listening and investigation on it. I sometimes have a hard time responding right away after hearing something.
Sure.
But I definitely think something's going on. Something weird is going on in this country, in this world, and it's disturbing. I should read some of these comments. People are writing tons of things. I should put my glasses on. But yeah, I my frustration with this pandemic is that I don't believe it's as bad as everyone says it is, and I can say that knowing that Sean's brother's wife got COVID like 2 weeks ago or something, and she felt like she had a cold. She lost her taste and her smell, and now she's fine. She's probably in her 50s. And then I know another person who, early in the pandemic, who lived in New York City. He probably still lives in New York City. He's a performer, does salsa and partner acrobatics and things like that. And I have not seen this person in many years, but he was overweight. He got COVID really bad, almost died. Now, I don't know what to say. He's probably also in his 50s. So I don't know. There's sort of a strange. I feel like it's a very strange illness, and I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it does seem that either you have premorbidities that are exasperated in a bigger, more dramatic way when you contract this disease or this illness, or if you're elderly or over the age of 60, that it can be much more damaging to you. But for the other part of the population, I don't think it's any worse than the flu. But, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, and I'm not saying that I know for sure. But in my experience of what's been happening and my observance of what's going on, it seems like we're being sort of fear-mongered into believing. I mean, I guess I'm much more apt to believe that we want to be placed in a fear state, similar to what happened after 9/11, where I lived in New York City. I saw the trade centers fall. I lived there for 3 years after 9/11. I witnessed it and I experienced it firsthand, and I almost, when that happened, I almost joined the, why am I going to forget now? I almost joined the Army.
Oh.
And yeah, I almost did. I met with them. I sat down and talked to them, and it was really funny because they called me back like 3 or 4 times, and I was flattered and then horrified at the same time. And I didn't do it. And there's a friend of mine who I was working with who was like, don't do that. Don't do it. They'll have all of your information forever. Don't do it. Don't do it. So I got scared by his what he told me, and I didn't. It took me a little while to I think believe that could possibly be something that our government did, because I witnessed it firsthand and I saw all the pain and everything that everybody went through. And I thought to myself, how could our government how could they do that? Why would they do that? But and I still can't say for sure if that was actually something that they planned or not. There's also a lot of theories around 9/11, and then now there's this and many other things that have happened in between. But this for sure has definitely made me feel like there's a pressure to keep people scared, to demolish our some of our rights, and the economy of the United States, and people who've worked their whole life to create a small business, and now have been asked to close their doors. There's a lot of double standards going on in this country, and I find that disgusting and absolutely infuriating. but it seems like it's okay if one party says something, but it's not okay if the other one does it. And I've been taking notes, little notes, because I'm an artist and I'm a theater person. And I was very far on the left at one point, and that's certainly changed since March. I moved to the middle somewhere, and it's interesting to me, just in my affiliation with, I affiliate on both sides of the party line here. I have friends on the right. I've got friends on the left. I have friends in the middle who don't know what to think. And it's interesting. I find it interesting conversation, and what I hear from my artist or more left thinking group of people. And then when I talk to somebody who's more conservative or more right or red, and I've just been taking my own mental notes this whole time. So it's an interesting time that we're in, and I don't have answers. I often find that I'm angry more than anything. More than anything, I've found that I'm angry, very angry, and I'm trying to deal with my anger more than anything.
Would you do me a favor and scroll back through the chat and read and respond to some of what some of the folks have said?
You want me to read some of it? Gee, yeah. I don't know how far I should scroll back.
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's see here.
I leave it to you.
I can maybe scroll back to what I said, whatever I said. I don't know. Let me go back. Okay, I'll put my glasses on.
Right.
Okay, here, I'll go back to where here we go. Let's see. Let's start here. Did you say you want me to read some?
Yeah, read and respond.
Okay. You want me to read out loud?
Please.
Okie dokie.
I'm drawing. I'm not really looking at the chat.
Okay. Edward says, I prefer the non-USA dominated world system. And then he also writes, I am reminded of the trading zones from the Expanse novels. I should look those up. I don't know what the Expanse novels are. Edward also says...
You could just watch the show. It's been adapted into a multi-season TV series. Originally it was on Sci-Fi, then it got canceled, and then Amazon picked it up. So they're all on Amazon now.
Oh, cool. Okay. Thank you, KMO.
No worries.
Edward says, I think the pandemic showed us that it is best to have some resilience in the production system so that the whole is not damaged by the failure of one essential nod. Yes, I agree with that, because it showed all the holes for sure. Much agree. Definitely showed all the different holes in the systems. Let's see. What happened when China went off the grid for the first few weeks of the pandemic? Example, he says. Example, what happened when China went off the grid for the first few weeks of the pandemic? Okay, Leslie says, interesting talk. You covered a lot of the bases nicely. Okay, she says, evil geniuses, Schwab, Soros, Gates. And then Edward says, about evil geniuses, I like to think that Dimitri is performing a thought experiment. Were such masters of the universe to exist, then it would make sense that this is their plan. I would proffer that the systems we live under have an emergent intelligence. That it's not necessary to have a small group of powerful thinkers directing things, but that a particular political economic system will display a form of intelligent direction.
So do you get
I'm sorry, I might be pronouncing your name wrong. Is it Lezik?
Leszek, but just call him Les, and it's a he.
Leszek.
It's a he, by the
Les.
way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, oh, sorry. Sorry.
Les is in Poland, and I've told him he can join us on this call if he wants to. I sent him the call information.
Cool. Oh, that would be awesome. Yes, please, from Poland. That's cool. Do you have some pierogies? I love Polish sausage. I love Polish food, I should say. Someday maybe I'll make it to Poland. For me, Ed, the evil geniuses are the billionaires who have all the money of the world and want to level up. Yes. Control, and the systems that they employ are swamp/shadow gov corporations. Agreed. Edward says, I think that trying to control the global system is akin to herding cats. Yes, and I have a cat. I can't herd her anywhere. She won't go anywhere unless she wants to go there. Yes, I agree, Ed, but the system will no longer be political. Can somebody explain that a little bit there? What do you mean by that? Should I write that? Can they hear me?
Yeah, they can all hear you.
Okay.
No, Les,
Yeah,
just
maybe if I
hold on
keep
just a
reading.
second. Les is offering to involve my telephone in all of this, and that would be ridiculously complex. Just join the Zoom call, Les.
Oh, join the Zoom, Les. Let's see. Technocracy isn't a political system. It's controlled by a non-elected priesthood. And yes, and that is why they will fail. Russia and China dragging their feet. Just Ed got tough there on Les.
Okay, Les, well, use your phone to join the Zoom call. There's definitely a
What?
mic in your phone.
Ed said, just kidding. No. Let's see. Well, that's exactly how they think, Ed. You hit the nail on the head. Yes, I know they think we're too stupid. For sure.
Ooh.
Gosh, there's so much to read.
Yeah.
I'm behind. Okay. What are you drawing there, KMO?
This is Geb webcomic strip number 95.
Number 95. I
Yep.
saw you were posting some things about Joyce.
Yes. Yes. Joyce is running off to join. Have you ever heard of Lucha Vavoom?
No.
Lucha
Is
Vavoom.
that a cult?
It's an entertainment spectacle that takes place in Los Angeles. It is a combination of Mexican wrestling, burlesque, comedy, and roller derby, and aerial stuff as well. It's
Oh.
it's
Wait.
a human freak show, but without actual
Oh, yeah.
freaks.
I've been in those many times.
Yeah. So there's a very famous one called Lucha Vavoom, and Joyce has left Australia, gone to Los Angeles, and she has joined a different one, a fictionalized one called, what's it called? Lucha Alienzo, which just means fight on the canvas, but it includes the word alien in it. If you take the space out between the A.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, the whole next chapter of Geb is going to take place in Los Angeles, and it's going to take place... the setting is this, this entertainment venue.
Yes.
Here, I'll show you some images from it.
Yes, please. That would be great. Let me see. I got to back up here. Something happened with the... All right. You think we are too stupid and that they know what is best for us?
There we go. Lucha Alienzo.
Did you put something up there?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
here
won't
it
see
is.
it for
Oh,
like 30 to 90 seconds, depending on how slow the stream
Okay.
is.
Okay.
But I'll leave it up here for a bit.
Aha. That's great. That's awesome. Actually, I think Sean has a shirt that I got him from Mexico with that is similar to this man, or I assume this is a man with the mask, the lucha.
Yeah, lucha I think just means fight or combat.
Yeah, he's got a Mexican fight shirt that I got him in Mexico. It's really cool.
Nice.
All right, let me go back to the chat. Did Les join the call?
No. He claims he doesn't have a microphone on his computer, but he surely has a microphone on his telephone, and he could use the phone to join the Zoom call.
Les says, just look at this chat. Many of my posts are blocked. Well, gee, you're on YouTube. That's why.
Yeah, I can't see. When he posts something that the YouTube algorithm decides is too hot, I don't see it.
Yeah, no, they're doing that a lot, actually. They've been all over doing that. It's interesting, too, that recently, since now that big tech is being grilled by the court systems, by the government, I've recently received all these emails of these different tech and Facebook and all these different Instagram updating their terms of service, which I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting that you're updating your terms of service. Gee, I think you're doing that on purpose because you know you don't want to get in trouble and get grilled in front of the government by why you're not actually speaking the truth, the real news. CNN, well, all of them, but CNN is the biggest culprit of editing the real news. But I'll stop talking about censorship.
It's an important topic.
Let's see. What?
It's an important topic.
Yes, it is an important topic, and people need to know it. I was just saying this last night. I'm so irritated that like half my life is wrapped up in freaking Google with my Gmail and all of my Google Drive stuff. And I want to just get rid of Google, and I would love to just get rid of Facebook and Instagram and all that crap because I just want to get away from it. But I'm a performing artist, and like half of what people do is advertise themselves on freaking all these social media places, and it's so frustrating because that's how people are getting work. And if you're angry at these organizations for what they're doing, and but you can't get off of there at the same time, so it's like I'm stuck in this weird little I don't know, loophole or something. But whatever, that's I guess the way it is. Either that or I go completely off the grid, like Dimitri's talking about, which, I mean, that's what I've been thinking. I'm just going to disappear for like 2 years. But, yeah, I was just saying to Sean how frustrating it is that I feel trapped. Like I feel trapped in partially the career I chose. Maybe it needs to change. And then trapped in big tech social media world where it's like if I don't utilize it, I can't get a grant because they'll think you have no social, you have no profile, you have no. It's a catch-22.
Believe me, I feel that pain. You know.
Do you feel that pain? I
totally.
wonder if other artists
Nothing
feel
about
that
how
pain.
I make my living works without social media, really. So I can't just walk away from it entirely. Even though I'm gone from Facebook, I'm still on Twitter, still on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
I mean, here we are
exactly.
talking on YouTube, which is Google.
Here we are talking on YouTube. YouTube, you know what? You better stop censoring people. That's all I'm saying. Wait, I want to respond. Les wrote, people are dying, but because the medical system is backed up, people who would have normally have surgeries and have chemo and stuff are being left to die. Exactly. And I'm so sorry that your father died 3 months ago. My partner, Sean, uncle, died 2 weeks ago of cancer, and he had stage 4 lung cancer and stage 4 bone cancer. Was literally diagnosed in June, but he had been feeling sick for months. And he's a veteran. He refused to go to the doctor, partially probably because he was in denial, which wouldn't you be? I mean, if you were feeling shitty and here's COVID-19 and, oh, I don't want to go to the hospital because I don't want to get somebody sick. I don't want to get sick. But, and I don't know really at that point if his, if it would have made any difference, but he explicitly said, well, I didn't go because I was afraid to go. And then they gave him this treatment plan, which
afraid to go because he thought he'd get COVID?
Yeah, he didn't go because he thought he would get COVID, or he would give it, or if he had it, he would give it to somebody or something. And then when Sean's mother finally, basically was like, look, you have to go. Like, there's something the matter. And then when he went in June or end of May, he got this diagnosis that, I mean, Jesus, if anybody gets that diagnosis, it's like you get hit by a train. He had a treatment plan that was like for 2 years of chemo and starting out with radiation, which he started with radiation. And then I think he just, the intensity of the treatments were too much. And I think his body was already too frail. And my experience with other loved ones that I know that have had bone cancer and lung cancer have not survived. But it's just horrible because his mother, Sean's mother, his sister could not see him at all. And the last time she spoke with him was like 2 weeks before he died via Zoom. And it's just horrible. It's horrible. It's not the way that people should die without your family or your friends or anybody there. I know a woman actually here in Vermont who has to have a double mastectomy, and she has to go through it all alone because nobody can be in there with her. Nobody can be there. And it's very sad.
So Dryland Fish says, I do believe COVID is quite serious. Hospitals are nearing or beyond capacity here in Appalachia. It is true, many here have comorbidities, more elderly, more obese, etc. It does not change the fact that lots are being impacted in a particularly poor region. The stakes are high for the folks here, many of whom do not believe in masking, locking down, distancing. But I think even Dryland Fish there, you'll recognize what Dimitri is claiming and what I agree with, that most of the harm that this pandemic is causing is economic harm that has been imposed by the style of response that the government thinks is the only legitimate style of response. And we should mention Ed's mom just died of COVID. He writes, yes, my mom died of COVID last week. She was 85 and had a do not ventilate order.
I'm sorry, Ed.
Yeah, and Ed's told me some other things that I won't share, but I will leave it to Ed to decide how much he wants to share. But there is, there's there's an eviction moratorium in place right now. So people can't be evicted from their homes or apartments because, of non-payment. rent or of their mortgage payments right now. But those are all adding up, and as soon as that moratorium ends, we're going to have a huge, eviction crisis. Do you hear the story about the people in the neighborhood in Portland who got together to resist the efforts of the police to come and evict somebody who was behind on their payments?
No, I didn't.
No.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I am asking you. Yep. So.
No, I did not hear about that. I mean, I recently looked at a video about showing I think it was Portland, because I guess there's another that the area that originally they took over to kick out all the police. I guess there's another that same grouping of individuals have taken a different area now. I don't know.
Are you talking about the Chop or the Chaz in Seattle?
Yes, that is what I'm talking about. Sean just showed me a video this morning of somebody walking through the streets of that particular area, or a different area now that they're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about it because I know about that whole incident, and I know about what happened in Portland, but
well, the Chaz was Seattle. Seattle's a couple hours north of Portland. Seattle's in Washington State. Portland is the next state. Portland is in Oregon, the next state south.
But I haven't paid much attention to the thing you're talking about.
Well, anyway, police showed up to evict. They showed up to evict a black family who'd been living in this house since the 1950s, but they've had financial difficulties and they've gotten behind on their mortgage, which they're trying to, refinance, and they had made some request to the courts, and the courts said, "Nope, you're out." And the police showed up to evict them, and a gathering of young black men started throwing things at the police and brandishing, melee weapons at the police, and basically the police fled. But the Portland mayor said that, the law will be upheld and people will be held accountable. Who's going to be held accountable? People getting evicted from their houses. They will be held accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that's coming in a big way. As soon as the eviction moratorium, the national one, has been lifted, the big landlords, not the mom and pop landlords, but the big corporate landlords are going to start putting people out en masse during a pandemic. Yeah. It's what we need. We need lots of people on the street in a pandemic with no place to go. That is what the situation absolutely calls for. That'll make everything better.
Yeah, well, it's a problem for sure. It's definitely a problem. I've been able to pay my rent, luckily, the whole time. I haven't even asked to not pay it, although we are stacking and cutting wood as part of to help keep our rent cheaper, thankfully. Luckily, my landlords are cool that way. They can barter. They're cool with bartering.
Nice.
They're at least a little barter, so we don't have to pay all of the heat for the winter. So that's good. I don't know how I've managed to pay my rent, considering that I'm technically unemployed, but somehow still managing. Luckily, Sean has still been able to work, so that's a good thing. I know not everybody's been able to work, so any job that I'm able to get right now is helpful to me, because that's why I'm cleaning the house. Well, there's two people's houses that I clean, and then I help an elderly friend of mine out quite a bit. But Yep. Being that, right now trying to see if I could get a job with this MFA that I have in theater, which right now feels like, what the fuck kind of idiot am I going to get a master's degree in theater?
Well, I'm glad I live in a
like,
world where, such degrees exist.
Yeah, no, they do. But now I'm sort of like, gee, why couldn't I should be, I wish I would have done something else. Like, anyway, whatever, it's fine. But, there are certainly things right now that I'm reevaluating and re-questioning about my career and whether or not this is the career that I want to be doing. So who knows? Who knows where it will go from here? But that's okay. I think change is good. Change is good. And we're all changing right now. I think the most important thing during this whole time is to be focused on yourself, and how how has the pandemic and these other social issues that we've been dealing with, social, racial, political, socioeconomic things, how do they affect us? And then how is it, sorry, there's a bunch of dogs barking. Those are the downstairs dogs. And when my landlord goes to work, they like to just go crazy because they think they're sad and they miss them. So they're going crazy right now. So in case you hear them, that's what's happening.
I do hear them.
There's not a bunch of wolves here. Not yet. Not yet. Anyway, yeah, I think it's important to take the time to figure out, well, how can I change? Like, what is it in me that needs to shift or move, or maybe this is an opportunity to look at, like, what other opportunities are there? Am I really doing what makes me happy? Am I taking care of my health? And I think those are things that maybe before weren't so noticed, or you weren't forced to have to look at them. But now here you are, when you get stuck in your home and and there's an illness out there, you're like, okay, well, gee, how do I deal with myself? I have to be with myself, or with my partner or my family. And I'm sure that's why there's been a lot of mental illness increase, and suicide, and health issues, and relationship issues, abuse, etc. Because I think when you're forced to go, oh, gee, well, here I am. I'm in my house. I can't go here. I can't go there. You have to look at you or your relationships, and then you start to notice all the places where there's holes in the system. Like, there's holes in the system in the bigger picture of the outside world. There's also holes in your own system at home. You're like, oh, gee, I don't eat well. I don't take vitamins. Gee, I don't exercise, or all these things that you start to notice, or how you deal with your relationship with your partner or your husband, wife, your children. And yeah, it's been an interesting time to reflect on that, and how you've taken what you're doing during this time. Because even though we want everything to go back to quote unquote normal, I don't even know what normal is. I don't think things will ever go back to whatever normal is. I think that things are they're gonna morph and change into something else. And AI might be what's around the corner.
Yeah. AI is definitely here.
Oh, well, I know it's here, but I'm talking about in a bigger way. So what Dimitri was kind of sort of referring to about, to have robots take over what humans are doing. That's why I think having a blue collar job, like a job that like a robot can't actually do, is probably the kind of job one should be looking at. Jobs where you use your hands to make things, where a robot couldn't do the same technical detail uh, as something that a robot could do. And I guess that I think about those things in relation to um, robots taking over.
Hey, would you have a peek at the chat again? Catch us up with what other folks are saying?
I scrolled away from it for a few moments.
Oh, shoot.
Oh dear, how did I get way up there on the chat? I don't know where I stopped talking. Oh, I wrote something in the chat, that's why. Okay. Oh. I'm catching up. So I'm just reading for the moment, but I to get to the bottom. Did you leave Facebook, KML?
I got kicked off of Facebook.
Oh, why?
Somebody accused me of impersonation.
What?
Exactly.
Who were you impersonating?
KMO.
Who?
KMO.
Isn't that you?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay. They kicked you off.
They sure did. And you know, when you get kicked off of Facebook, like I'd been on there for over a decade, as soon as your account is 86th or deep sixed, everything you've ever posted is gone in an instant. Like if you've ever been in a conversation with somebody, your side of the conversation is just gone. If you've ever participated in any sort of group on Facebook or any community, all your contributions are just gone in an instant. Just algorithmically, you are erased from history. You never existed.
Wow.
Yep. That's Facebook. Enjoy.
Yeah, that's Facebook. Well, I'd be happy to just diss myself off Facebook, but I think before I do that, I better go on there and get all the photos and everything, anything I want off of there first.
Yep.
I just haven't had a chance to do it.
So, my decade on Facebook, that was 3 laptops. I don't have those laptops anymore. All that stuff that I put on Facebook, I was archiving it there on Facebook, and it's all gone. All those photos, all those posts, stories, all of it just down the memory hole in an instant.
How long ago did that happen?
A little over 2 years now.
Okay. Wow. Let me see. I'm sorry. I'm backing up here with the chat. Wait.
Got to reward the folks for their participation.
Yes, it's awesome.
We must acknowledge. All right.
And how you I could remember. Yeah, job loss, eviction. Hmm. Okay, Les asks the question here. Ed, do you think a split/divorce in the United States between the liberals and conservatives would be better or worse for the country as a whole, for the respective groups going their own way? Thank you for this question, Ed says. I think the conservative/liberal divide is a product of variety in human psychology, like in the Jim Henson movie Dark Crystal. I have not seen that movie.
Really? Classic.
No. Well, then there's me who never sees anything. Like, I haven't seen, there's so many things I haven't seen.
You were a child when the Dark Crystal came out.
I don't know about that. But
Alexa, what year did the Dark Crystal come out?
When did it come out?
The film The Dark Crystal was released about 38 years ago on December 17th, 1982.
Alexa, stop. 82.
Okay, 82. Well, I still have had plenty of time to possibly watch that, but of course I haven't. But there's so many things I haven't watched. I don't know. I spend a good amount of time without a TV, so maybe that's wherein I just fell off the loop there. But it's kind of funny because there's so many things I haven't watched. Like Sean's always like, "What? You haven't seen that?" I was like, "No, I haven't seen that." I think it was The Matrix. Like, I literally had not seen The Matrix, and he almost shit himself. It was like,
that's a big one.
He was like, "Okay, you need to watch this." I was like, "Okay." That's just me. It's not that I think trying to be an artist, you're like so constantly trying to figure out what your next gig is. I'm constantly what's the word? What's the word?
Hustling? Struggling?
Thank you. Hustling. I'm constantly hustling. The only time I didn't hustle was when I was in grad school, and that's because I had student loans that were paying for everything, which now I'm paying for. But it's funny that was the one time where I was like, gee, I guess I was hustling because I was working while I was in grad school. But I felt a little less of the like, what's my next job? What's my next gig kind of thing, because I wasn't consistently hustling. I was focused on 3 years of grad school, but whatever. Anyway, I want to go back to the chat here. Now, where do we go? Dark Crystal is where I was. Where did the Dark Crystal go? Okay. Then Les says, "Me too, Ed. I have horror stories from asshole renters that didn't want to leave. Property damage, blackmail."
Yeah, that's the other side of it, for sure.
What'd you say, KMO?
I said that's the other side of it for sure. We got a lot of that going on here in Bellows Falls. Just dirtbag renters.
Renters who don't want to leave?
Who won't leave, who trash the place, who don't have any sort of waste disposal contracts, so their place is just full of garbage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that what's going on in Bellows Falls?
Absolutely.
So, landlords are having trouble because they're not paying their rent, and then they're trashing the place too.
And the state of Vermont just makes the state of Vermont takes the side of
the renter, I know.
Of the tenant, always.
Yeah. No, I know Vermont is real big in support of the tenant here. Although I've always just been a tenant. I've never been a landlord here. Thankfully. Well, I've never been a landlord at all. But I don't envy them for sure. I know they have it. They have a difficult time. Conservatives identify and value the system and its hierarchies and value the order it provides. Yes, I agree, Ed. It is rooted from our division of our brains into left and right. Yes, that's true. Liberals want the system to be different, more just, equal, etc. So what I want is for us to all learn to get along with each other. Yes, Ed. I don't think that's going to happen really easily, but it is an ideal, sure. As a yoga person, I often think of those ideals, but then then the other side of my brain smacks me in the face and goes, I don't know if that's ever really going to happen.
Maybe have a plan B in place that involves people still not really giving each other a fair shake or...
Say that, I'm sorry, I missed the first part, KMO, because you cut out.
Yeah, it would be great if people could get along, but maybe have a plan B in place in case they don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not saying I don't want that, but I don't know if it's possible. I mean, if you look back at the history of time, there's always been conflict. And that might just be part of the human experience. I don't know. Maybe that's just the experience that exists here on this earth in the amount of time that we are here. I don't know. No, wait, where'd we go? Liberals are idealistic, conservatives are practical. I agree with that, for sure, Les. In my high school, Ed says, there were the Keeners.
The Keeners?
The Keeners. Gosh, where did you go to high school, Ed?
Ed's in Montreal, by the way.
What?
Ed is in Montreal.
Oh, okay. I was like, Keeners. Wow, that's a new word. I don't know what that means.
Well, I don't know either.
What, Ed, you're going to have to explain that. Maybe you already did. Oh, look, somebody you already did. Who participated, I'm behind, who participated in school events enthusiastically and obeyed instruction. Keeners. What's that word derived from? Keen on pleasing? And there were the slackers, the people who smoked pot and skateboarded and were too cool and hip to care and be involved. To be a keener means to be keen, to be enthusiastically into something.
Right, they're game.
I was a nerd in the body of a jock, a slacker though. Like you and me are out of my head keeners.
Mm-hmm.
KMO said something controversial about Star Trek.
Yeah, that's what got me kicked off of Facebook.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I expressed an opinion on a Star Trek discussion group that had 200,000 members in it that some folks didn't like, and 2 hours later, I was kicked off of Facebook. So the timing was too much, too rich to ignore.
So, because the Star Trek group kicked you out, or
somebody in the Star Trek group saw that I was using KMO rather than my the name that's on my driver's license, and they thought, he's vulnerable. I can mess with him. I can get him kicked off. So I can show you the email that Facebook sent me.
So what? That just seems so petty.
Yeah.
Right?
It's absolutely petty, yes.
Like, who cares? Like, who cares if you're using KMO and not your real name?
Well, I'm certain. I mean, here's the thing. I expressed a preference for old Star Trek over Star Trek Discovery. And Star Trek Discovery is all SJW. So, if you say something to piss off an SJW, well, they look for a way to get you fired from your job. I mean, that's the number one goal. get them fired. But they couldn't get me fired for this, but maybe they can get me kicked off of Facebook. But anyway, the desire among that crew, when somebody says something they don't like, is to find some way to punish them in the real world for expressing an opinion online. It is their modus operandi.
Yes, it is.
Impersonation. Okay, here we go. So I'll move it over to the monitor that everybody can see.
Okay.
So this is from Friday, July 27th, 2018. Hi, KMO, comma, hi, comma. It looks like the account with the name KMO Okan has been disabled for pretending to be someone else, which goes against our community standards. To learn more about our community standards, please follow the link below. If you think we made a mistake, please reply to this message with an ID or other documents that contain your photo, name, and date of birth. You can learn more about these types of ID and documents, about the ID and documents we use to confirm your identity in the Help Center. If you're having general issues logging into your account, please visit the Help Center for troubleshooting tips and additional ways to get help. And so I said hi. Thanks for, let's see. This is from Facebook also. Oh, they sent me 2 letters. Okay, here's the second one. Hi, thanks for contacting us. To protect this account security, we can't give you access to it until we confirm that it belongs to you. To confirm that this account belongs to you, we'll need you to send a photo or scan something from our ID list that confirms your identity. So I declined.
Okay.
I declined to send them ID, and they destroyed my account and removed all of my participation, all history of my participation on Facebook.
Well, that's lovely.
Yeah, that's the world we live in. That is the world of big tech. Express an opinion that the lefties don't like, and you are a non-entity. You have no rights. You are gone.
Gone.
You're just gone. So you know what, lefties? You can have Facebook. It's yours. Enjoy.
Yeah, I know. Take it. I don't want Facebook. I'm just so tired of Facebook.
Yeah.
Although I have yet to get myself completely off of there. Although I think I've completely sort of closed off my whatever profile kind of stuff, but I've still used it to make events and send private messages in an event page, because as a person who teaches yoga and other stuff, that's like one of the only other ways other than email that I'm getting the word out there. And I need to redo my website, which that'll happen soon. So maybe I can do it. It'll be better then when my website is updated. So then I can just put everything on there and have people come there. But
people don't go to websites anymore.
What?
People don't go to websites anymore.
I know they don't, but I'm going to bring it back.
Well, good luck.
I know. Instead, I'm forced into the social media realm.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I either have to just suck it up and deal with it or not. But yeah, nobody goes to websites anymore. What happened to that?
Well, Facebook's so much more convenient. They're there anyway.
Right.
I mean,
Facebook, Instagram,
your website is just your stuff. Why would anybody go there when, you can contribute your stuff to the bigger picture?
Exactly. But what if I don't want to contribute it to the bigger picture?
Well, what's wrong with you? Why wouldn't you?
What's the matter with you? There's something the matter with you.
Indeed. Clearly something wrong.
Something's the matter. I mean, Van Gogh didn't have a website or social media.
Well, you don't really want to follow his example.
I know, but still. Maybe I do. I don't know.
You're too happy.
Wait.
You're too happy of a person to follow in his footsteps.
You think so, KMO?
I do think so.
I think I'm a happy person. You should talk to Sean. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I hope to at some point.
Or if you went into my brain a little more, you'd be like, wow, this girl's crazy and she's not happy. Didn't I just tell you at the beginning of this podcast, live stream, not podcast, hello, that I was angry all the time?
Yep, I know.
Yes.
I'm angry a lot of the time as well, I have to say.
Either that or I get, either that or it's apathy or depression. I don't know. Except for when I go running in the woods. I think that's the only time that I might have a... No, I'm kidding. I mean, I do have joy. I'm being sarcastic a bit, obviously. You know that. But, no, but I have been angry a lot lately. And, that's okay. Just dealing with it. Different ways to deal with that. Running's good for that.
Weightlifting was my... It was my release, and my gym has just closed their doors.
So they're closed now for the rest of the winter?
They're closed now forever unless somebody finds the capital to reopen the place.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure why they were closed or closing.
They closed
so
because
financially they're out. Is that right? Because they have no money?
Right. So, I was of the opinion that there's two gyms in town. There's Flex down in the square, and then there's Greater Rock Fitness. And Flex is for young people. It's a very young clientele down there. And they focus mostly on classes, spin classes, Zoom classes, that sort of thing. They have very little in the way of weights. Very little. And
I see.
So it's even if I go down there, it's not an adequate substitute for what I've lost. But that gym is still going strong because young people are not afraid of COVID. But Greater Rock Fitness is the old people gym, and the old people are afraid of COVID, so they've all stopped coming. But it was my opinion that even if they're not going to come, they should still pay their membership dues so that it will be open when they get back. When they decide they're not afraid to leave their houses anymore, the gym will still be there. But instead, they did the exact opposite. Not only did they not keep paying their dues, but a good many of them, I'm told from the now, former owner, came to him and demanded a refund.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which of course he had to give them, but really the only appropriate response to that request is, fuck you.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But, he being a businessman can't say the sensible thing. He's got to say, yes, of course, here's your refund. Oh, that pissed me off.
Man.
Not only are you going to abandon the gym and leave it high and dry, but you're going to cut it. You're going to draw some blood on your way out.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And, I know that there are senior citizens in this town who don't have a lot of money, but they weren't the ones going to Greater Rock Fitness.
Right.
The people who are going to the gym, the old folks, they can afford to keep paying even if they're not going. Anyway, we got stuff going on in the chat. What do we got?
I know, I see that. I think they're talking amongst themselves.
Well, yeah, they usually end up doing that. Okay, here we are. So, Ed's comments about the Keeners. Keens were keen on everything. Like you and me are out of my head Keeners. Haha. I can accept that designation. Kamo said something controversial about Star Trek. Yeah, that's what got me kicked off. His punishment was banished from Facebook. Re-Facebook impersonation. Somebody said, in a free country, you are who you say you are. Yeah. Move It Yoga and Fitness with Bronwyn said, please tell the people of Friends of the Sea Realm on Facebook about this live stream.
Yes, I will, Ed and KMO. I'll let people know.
That's actually profound, Dryland Fish. Also had an account there under not my actual name, now forever locked out. Les says, oh, remember that movie? Creeped me out. The Matrix? Matrix, never heard of it. Dryland Fish says, old enough that the word hustle serves up a nasty disco earworm. Dun, 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 dun. Do the hustle. Yeah, I remember that one.
Do the hustle.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Les says, that's so underhanded, though. People that are physically weak do that kind of stuff. I'm kind of surprised that hasn't been a Facebook there hasn't been a Facebook competitor that pretty much offers the same service but isn't run on ads and tyranny. Well, they tried.
Yeah, right.
They tried, what was it? Diaspora, or Diaspora, depending on where you're from. That was supposed to be the big alternative to Facebook. They raised a couple $1 million, I think, on Kickstarter. And then the founder was mysteriously found dead.
Oh.
So that went away.
Then. Interesting.
Yeah. Ed says network effect means that it is very difficult to displace the current one. Yep. But Facebook is definitely, the writing's on the wall for them because young people are not using it. It's basically for boomers and Gen Xers. Neither one of my kids have a Facebook account. Actually, neither one of my children uses Facebook. My youngest actually has an account, but he doesn't use it.
You mean your children?
My children.
Okay, wait. We gotta wait a second. Pause. You have kids?
I have 2 children. I have 2 boys, ages 20 and 16.
You told me this.
Yeah. They live in Maryland.
And I may have spaced out, or you didn't tell me this. Wait, how old are your kids?
They're 20 and 16.
Okay. I don't think I knew that. Yeah. I don't think I knew that. Awesome. And they don't use Facebook? What do they use? Twitch?
They're both on Discord. I think that's primarily how they communicate with their friends.
Okay. Or Snapchat or something? Or is that old too now?
I don't think they do Snapchat. I think they're mostly Discord-centric.
So what is Discord? Is that like Instagram?
Boy. That's more than I can handle. Ed, What is Discord? Tell us about Discord.
Uh-oh. Wait, why can't you tell me?
Okay, here, I'll show you Discord. How about that? So,
oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
Okay, here it is on screen. And I'm shifting it over to the other screen. So here's Discord. So here, let's look at this. What is this? MCR. California. What is MCR? Take that off screen. Okay, here's a group. This is comic book collaborators or comic creators work group. So, it's like a bulletin board. Oh wait, there's actually a C-realm here's Ed. Here's Ed on Discord, but he's created a group for this live stream. Where is that? See, I'm definitely not the person to describe Discord to anybody else because I barely know how to use it. Ed, what happened to that out of my head Discord server?
Yeah, he says there is an out of my head has a Discord channel.
I don't know how to find it though. So I think mostly Ed's private stash there. Ed, maybe you can direct me to it somehow?
It's Ed?
Discord is a robust chat platform, but okay, how do I find the part of it devoted to this live stream, Ed? Wait, is that it? Yeah, here it is. And as you can see, the only person who posts to it is Ed, because everybody else here is old. We don't get this stuff.
Did you put it up somewhere?
It's there's a lag. So what I put up won't appear on the live stream for another few seconds. But yeah, I have Discord up on screen now.
Which screen do you have it up on?
The only one that viewers of the live stream can see.
Oh, okay.
Do you see it?
I
It's got a purple bar across the top.
don't see it actually.
What do you see?
I see your drawing.
Oh, okay. Well, then there's just a
That's
big
okay.
lag. That's just lag.
Okay. It'll come probably. It's probably my internet. It
Let's
says
see.
it's very lonely on there.
Yeah.
Why? Why are you lonely on there, Ed?
Because most of the people who listen to what I have to say are my age or older and have nothing to do with Discord. Probably haven't even heard of it.
Well, I'm going to have to check it out. I think maybe I vaguely heard of Discord, but it was very vague.
This live stream is going out on Twitch too, but nobody on Twitch ever watches it or comments or participates in the chat.
Yeah, that's another one that I only know a tiny bit about. I haven't really done much research on Twitch.
Well, that's gaming centric. It's a platform you'd use to watch other people play video games.
I see.
You know, and I say that dismissively. There are people who play video games for people to watch on Twitch who make millions of dollars a year doing it.
Really?
Yeah.
Millions of dollars playing video games on Twitch?
That's right.
See, Sean always knows these things. He just walked in the door. He's walking up the stairs. And I said that out loud, and he goes, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, how does he know these things? I know nothing. I'm like, I know things. But...
You're too busy with all that yoga and theater and whatnot.
Oh, God, yeah.
Making
yoga,
making movies.
Theater. Making, crazy performance art movies. Oh, look, you could say hi to Sean now. Hold on, let's see.
I came up.
There he
Sean.
is. And the other folks who are on here.
Alive, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Oh. Okay. Great. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
It was perfect. It was a perfect chime in. I was like, how does he know about that?
Hey, don't walk away yet. I'm just getting my video up on screen so I can see you. Oh, there you are. Okay.
There he is in his carpenter costume.
How are you?
Doing well.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that will make millions. There's people that make millions of dollars because people go onto their YouTube channel and just watch them play video games.
Yep. That's how PewDiePie got started.
Maybe that's my career next.
There's a lot of competition for that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
No, I'd have to get real good. And as it is right now, I can't even play some of the games we've been playing. Although I can knock Sean out pretty well.
Yeah, she
what?
cheats.
I do not cheat.
In a fighting game, we play UFC 4.
Ah.
We just started playing it.
Yeah.
But
This was a quarantine thing.
Yes.
You know, the world's shutting down. You might as well play video games. Right?
Might as well.
That's fun.
It's true. Sorry, where'd the chat go?
Oh, the chat. Let's see.
Oh, the chat.
I think we were talking about Discord. Ed says, I'm very lonely on there. I'm the only one posting on Discord. Is Edulus a play on words? Asks Les, because Edulus is Ed's name on Discord. Edulus means edible in Latin. Edulus is my playa name from Burning Man.
Uh-huh.
It's a Burning Man thing. You take on a name that represents your highest mythic self. My friend Virile Soul bestowed it upon me. Nice, Edulus. Edulus is better than Virile Soul. I agree. Once planted a bunch of trees of Igna Edulus. I don't know what that tree is.
I don't know that tree either. So I was just going to ask these questions. Dryland, where do you live? And then, okay, Les, you're in Poland. Where in Poland? And where does Edward live? In Appalachia?
Ed is in Montreal.
Oh, right, you said that. Duh. Why did I say Appalachia? Where did I hear
Well,
someone
Dryland Fish mentioned Appalachia earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have the advantage of having been communicating with some of these folks for years. So I don't need a cheat sheet so much.
Loveland, Poland. Oh,
What was that?
that was me trying to type something. Okay. I live at the confluence of the Ottawa and St. Lawrence rivers.
Ed, do you hear how she types? She's gentle. You should hear Ed type.
Oh, why?
Ed is a ferocious typer. I just feel so sorry for his keyboard.
Oh, no. Well, do you want me to type louder?
No.
Just kidding.
You're putting on a good example.
Oh, okay. He's near Lake Champlain, the north end of Lake Champlain.
Essex.
Essex? Are you near? No, but you're in Montreal.
Oh, my.
Ed says, I am the keeper of the north end of Lake Champlain.
Yes.
Camo is keeper of its south. Yep. Bronwyn, too. She's roughly in the same place.
Yep, I'm about 25 minutes from KMO. What's a flatlander? A flatlander is someone who lives not in the mountains. And you're a city person, probably.
Yeah, around here, Flatlander is what the old-time Vermonters call anybody who's not from Vermont originally.
Right, exactly.
And if you've lived here 25 years, you're still a Flatlander.
Yep. Vermonters, the old Vermonters are very serious about that.
Yeah. And, even if you were born here, but maybe you went to school in Boston, you're pretty much Flatlander.
Yeah, you're a Flatlander. But, someone said to me today, which I disagree with, that they think that the typical Vermonter, born and raised Vermonter, lives in a trailer and is 300 pounds, and that's not true. Because I know people who were born and raised in Vermont that don't live in a trailer and are educated and are not 300 pounds, and they don't necessarily follow all the rhetoric because they're educated. I think sometimes people who are educated and have degrees have an elitist way of thinking about themselves, and they just always, even if they don't think they're actually doing it, they do put you down subtly in a very subtle, intellectual way that later on you go, gee, why do I feel oppressed or pissed off? Well, that's probably because some well-educated, elitist person put you there or decided to make you feel like shit about yourself about something. So I think there are people who are educated and poor, and they don't fall into that bullshit. I don't know, I'm kind of, but I think it's rude to assume that people who are born and raised in Vermont or in any rural area, that they just live in a trailer and they're 300 pounds and they don't have any education. I think that's really disgusting way of thinking about people. Because everybody's an individual and you don't know them until you start talking to them.
Yes, we're all individuals.
Yes, we are.
No, I'm quoting Life of Brian. You have seen Life of Brian, right?
What did you say?
You have seen Life of Brian, right?
Yes, it's been a while,
Okay.
but I've seen it.
When the multitudes are at assembled below Brian's window, and he's just had sex with Judith for the first time, and he comes to the window and he throws it open, and he's buck naked, full frontal, and there's a whole crowd staring up at him, and he closes the window and he puts his robe on. He comes back, he says, "Go away," and they're all treating him like the Messiah, and he says, you don't need leaders. You're all individuals. And the crowd in unison answers, "Yes, we're all individuals."
Yes, I don't know if you're asking me, Ed, or if you're asking KMO, but I have been to Bread and Puppet in Glover, and I loved it. It was amazing. It was a couple of years ago now.
I've heard good things. I've never been.
Absolutely awesome. In fact, I would love to do some of that kind of work myself. But yes, I love Bread and Puppet. Have you ever been there, KMO?
I have not. I've heard good things.
Oh,
but I've not
yeah,
been.
you should definitely see them. I've never been to Hawaii, but I would love to go. I know you're not asking me that. I see you talking about Hawaii. Edward, you asked me the Firefly Festival. I think I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it. That sounds awesome, Dryland. Undeveloped wilderness on the big island. I think that's a great idea. We should all go to Bread and Puppet.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Really awesome. They do beautiful things on a large scale puppets outside.
So I was very disciplined last night. I did not go to the convenience store. I bought no alcoholic beverages. But it really wasn't. It was not a matter of willpower. It was a matter of, it's cold out and it's been wet and I don't want to walk down that hill if there's black ice. So really it was laziness and self-preservation that kept me.
Well, that's okay because there you didn't drink anything. So that was probably good.
That's right. No popcorn, no donuts or Rice Krispie treats or any of the other garbage that I buy when I'm down there.
I understand. Yeah, come January, I'm going to try to cut out sugar. Oh, boy. I mean, I don't eat a ton of it, but I do like it in the evening after dinner. So that's going to be my big one. I don't have any problem, like, making myself exercise. I mean, I have a couple physical goals that we put on ourselves. In fact, I'm going to have to go do one of them as soon as I get off this live stream.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, it's good to give yourself those kind of goals. But yeah, the sugar is always a hard one for me. But I should try a little harder.
All right. Are we caught up in the chat? I think so. Looks like it.
I think we are. Yep. We're talking about meeting up at Bread and Puppet.
Ed says, KMO, you make video number 100 there. So here's the deal. I've been lusting after the Google Pixel 4a or the Pixel 5, both released just this last summer.
Yeah.
the Google Pixel phones have excellent cameras in them and excellent camera software. I mean, it's the software that's excellent. The cameras are nothing special, but they take really amazing pictures. And my current phone works just fine. I have no reason to replace it. So I told myself, okay, make another 100 YouTube videos with your current phone, and you can upgrade to another phone.
All right, then.
Yeah.
So I guess you can upgrade, yes? What is your phone right now?
I have a Huawei Mate SE.
You have a what?
Huawei Mate SE.
Okay. So what are you going to upgrade to?
Well, depends how quickly I can get those 100 videos made. If it's, say, before next summer, then a Google Pixel 4a or a Pixel 5, depending on my circumstances at the time. The 4a is much cheaper.
I see.
But Google is, they're developing their own processor for use in their phones. And I think the first phones that their new proprietary processor is going to be used in will be the Pixel 5a, which should come out next summer, and the Pixel 6. So if I've waited that long to get those 100 videos out, I might just go for whatever their current phone is.
Yeah.
But as I say, my current phone works fine.
Well, exactly, right?
Cannot justify upgrading.
One. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
All right. Oh yes, I talk to myself as I'm drawing. I share my inner process. My inner process of losing track of what I was doing.
Share your inner process. Well, that's a good thing.
Alrighty. Oh no, Dryland Fish is leaving us. Actually, Les says, "Hey Ed, what's a good and cheap smartphone for my mother? She's thinking of purchasing one in the near future. I don't own one, and I don't know what the choices are." Well, YouTube is full of reviews. Like YouTube knows it's a weakness of mine. I wouldn't know about all these phones if it weren't for YouTube and the algorithm saying, "Hey, why don't we make him aware of our new smartphone? He'll surely want one." But yeah, Google and T-Mobile, my carrier, they both know that I'm using an enemy phone.
An enemy phone. Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, the CEO, not the CEO, the chief financial officer of Huawei was arrested in British Columbia at the behest of the U.S. government. There's a long-standing beef between the U.S. government and Huawei. And Huawei, like all big Chinese companies, is basically beholden to the Chinese Communist Party. So any data that they collect on Americans through the use of, Americans using their smartphones, you can just assume that the Chinese Communist Party has access to that data. But,
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they have all sorts of data on me and many other people.
In the previous decade, Huawei was basically, their modus operandi was just openly stealing other people's technology. So they pirated the design for a router, I think from Intel. I'm not sure about the company, but not only did they steal, the plans for the device and then sold that device, there was a typo in the documentation, in the manual that comes with the device. In the original American version, the typo was replicated in the documentation for the Chinese version, for the Huawei version. It was clearly stolen. There is no way to spin it otherwise. But now they've moved on. Now they're definitely innovating. So they make really good phones. And my phone, as I say, is perfectly good phone. It's probably the best smartphone I've ever used. I've had it for just about 2 years now. I paid $220 for it. $220 won't get you a case for a frickin' iPhone, but it'll get you the whole kit and caboodle on a Huawei phone.
Yeah, it's true. So KMO, I'm probably gonna have to go shortly here.
Oh, you
Ah,
abandoned me. You're gonna
I
leave me
can
at the
always
mercy of these
come
animals.
and do
in the
it
chat.
again.
Okay.
Maybe I can paint or something while you're drawing.
Oh, then I'll have to read the chat.
Well, I can still read the chat.
Oh,
I
okay.
can take a break.
Okay, good.
I think. Oh, Ed wants you to maybe design something for him.
Design. Oh, I need
You want
stickers
you
for my
to
DoorDash Uber Eats service to improve my customer
Yes.
rating. Ah, now we can talk about that. Sure. It's something. If it's something I can knock out over the course of a live stream, yes, I'd be happy to do that, Ed. All right. Now what I'm doing, I'm going to character tones, but I have to open a different page to find. There we are. Joyce's tones.
Joyce's tones.
So
Here
there's
she
her
goes.
Basic head tail tone and her basic skin tone, which is that one. All right.
I hope that's strong coffee she's drinking.
Now, Joyce is a connoisseur of the fine herb, and it's
Of coffee?
no, the smokable herb, the kind green herb
Of course.
that is now
Yes, but of
totally
course.
legal for us Vermonters. I don't have to speak in code. Marijuana.
No, you don't. Yeah, no, you don't need to speak in code about marijuana.
Nope.
Not in Vermont. KMO's disappeared.
Oh right, you can see me. I keep forgetting.
I can see you.
Yes, I'm going to refill my coffee. All right.
KMO is off screen, just in case any of you are wondering where he went.
I went to the kitchen to refill my coffee.
Refill your coffee.
Yeah. Oh, it's dark in here.
It's getting dark in there, KMO.
Check this out, though.
Getting dark in your room.
Look at that.
That's better. That's better. I probably need to shuffle off to Buffalo.
All right. Don't actually go to Buffalo, but yeah.
No, you don't want me to go to Buffalo?
I mean, it won't bother me, I suppose, if you go to Buffalo. But
I'm just kidding. I'm not going to Buffalo. At least not right now. Maybe tomorrow. No.
go in January. I hear it's lovely in January.
Yeah, January is good. I think that they have something there called a slime dog.
A slime dog.
Yeah, I think I've had one. It's like a hot dog with really sort of not thick chili that they put on the hot dog.
Huh.
It's actually good. I've had one and it was good, but I think that's what they call it. I'm not sure. I was a while ago when I was in Buffalo.
Buffalo's right up at the border, right? It's like right up by Niagara Falls.
Yes. Yeah, it's sort of, yeah, I think.
You're gonna look at a map.
You're going to look on the map.
I am. I'm like that. Anyway, you were dismissed.
You're dismissed. I want to say goodbye to Ed and Les.
All right. You hear
Today's
that, guys?
your Solstice Day? No. Well, I don't know if it is in Poland, but here it's on December 21st, Les.
Oh, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo. Oh, I see. Yeah, Buffalo is right near Niagara Falls. Yep. All right, it's all clear to me now.
I'm just saying goodbye.
All righty. So what have I got selected? How about this one?
Okay. Yes. That would be great. Oh, December 21st is also the day that Jupiter and Saturn superimpose on each other.
Ah,
That's cool. I didn't know that.
that'll make for one bright, shiny light in the sky.
All right, KMO, maybe I'll see you in person. I don't know, maybe next week. I wanted to come out to Fact TV and talk to Colin. So
You'd have a lot to talk about with Colin, by the way.
what?
You and Colin will have a lot to talk about.
Oh, I'm sure. We usually do. So I don't know. I may be in your area.
All right. Well, you know where I am. Stop on in.
I do. I do know where you are.
And I never go anywhere else, so
Okay.
I'll likely be here.
What a rate. Wait. Yes, Fred and Puppet.
Yes.
Whoops, I think did I spell it right? Okay. Okie dokie. Nice to chat with everybody. KMO, I'm excited about these drawings.
Well, I'll get to writing on some scripts that we can record here pretty soon.
Yes, please. Yeah, I've been playing with some ideas, so.
All right.
Now, wait, the other character you wanted me to look at was who again? You told me, and
Yeah.
I wrote it down.
She's right here on screen. Edwina, the ant.
Edwina,
Yep.
the ant.
She's not really an ant, but she looks like an ant. Yeah.
She looks like an ant.
Mhm.
Edwina and Joyce.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, let's make a plan for that.
Well.
Now my cat is. Can you hear my cat?
Yes.
That's so awesome. You can hear her all the way in the other room. She's going meow, meow, complaining, complain. And she's a spoiled little diva.
Of course.
Okay, everybody. Take care, everyone. Take care.
Bye, Bronwyn.
And I'll see you soon, KMO.
I hope so.
Yes, I hope so too. And keep going with the drawing. It looks awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, by the way, I mentioned you. Well, I didn't mention your name, but if they do this show called it's a play called Hammered, which is it's actually I guess it's a cartoon that sort of takes place during Norse mythology era type. And I don't know, she kind of vaguely was saying that if they do this piece, they may be really interested in somebody doing cartoon style drawing in relation to the show. So anyhow, it made me think of you. I said, oh, well, okay. Let me know if you decide you want to do that.
I know some
Just
people.
let me know.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okie doke. All right, everybody. Take care. I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Peace.
Okay, peace out, Cub Scout. All right. Mwah. Bye. I'll wave like crazy.
I can't see you waving. I'm looking at the chat.
Oh, okay.
It says, Kamo, please speak to us about the Eros Thanatos duality. From where does this idea come? Ed, I'm not prepared to speak on that off the top of my head. Sorry. Let's see. I'm going to kill the Zoom call now. Unless Les has figured out a way to call it. Oh, Les says he doesn't have a smartphone. So what, you're going to call me from a landline? And pay $1 bazillion a minute to talk to me? That's craziness. Crazy talk. All right, end meeting for all. Zoom call is converting so it can be recorded. All right. Ugh. Dr. Tones. All right. So everybody, that was Bronwyn. She and I acted in a video production. I've been calling it a movie, but it's only like 20 minutes long. Has anybody seen that? Ed, did you see that? It was called Honey, I'm Sorry I Let the Demons Take Our Kid. We have 25 minutes to fill. You know, I did bail like 20 minutes early yesterday. I was feeling pretty tired. Although I had drawn for hours before the stream started yesterday. Here, let me find the link to the video of the thing that Bronwyn and I are both in. Let's see. Honey, I'm sorry I let the demons take our kid. Yeah, here it is. All right, no, I'm not going to sit here and watch it. It is 29 minutes and 17 seconds. I'll put it in the chat, and anybody who wants to can watch it later. There it is. I didn't see it. I saw some recent production stills that involved a top hat and Colin. So yeah, you've seen Bronwyn then. I watched Into the Spider-Verse and was awestruck. Yeah, isn't it amazing? That is an amazing piece of filmmaking. And it looks like Sony and Marvel are going to keep going in that direction even in their live-action Spider-Man productions. So they're talking about having maybe Tom Holland and what's his name? Garfield, the guy who played Spider-Man before Tom Holland, and Tobey Maguire all in the next Spider-Man film. Because it's going to be a cross-dimensional, universe hopping sort of affair. And the next Doctor Strange film is going to be called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is a riff on H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness. So, on one level, I feel like I'm done with the Marvel superhero movies. It's like I don't care if they never make another one. But I do want to see that Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and the new Spider-Man film. I guess it's just, the big tentpole Marvel films, like the Avengers films. I've had enough. Full up. And so, if COVID does end up killing movie theaters and everything's going to streaming, then I think that'll be beneficial for movies in that there won't be this reliance on, huge returns on multi-$100 million films. But there'll be a place again for smaller films. All right, what do we got here? I should watch that high. Yeah, you watched it sober? How'd you manage that? There's a lot of multiverse going around these days. The Doctor Strange movie was good. Yep. Visually, it was really fun. Seems like the collective mind is grappling with that idea. Go collective mind. Alrighty, what do we got here? Let's grab. What's with that? Huh. Alright, character tones. Alright, that one and that one. Nope. That one. Okay, let's start closing some stuff. I'm confusing myself here. No, wrong one. This one. All right, and now it's quiet. One sure takes away the silence, doesn't she? What do we got here? Did anybody hear Bronwyn on the C-ROM Vault? She was only identified as B in that one, but there's no mistaking her personality. Yeah, the stream's better when there's a chick on. Yes, yes. Many a podcast has discovered that magic elixir. The chick is definitely the magic ingredient. Makes the whole thing pop. All right. Ground tones. Let's see, we'll go black all the way out to this light gray. Gradient. No. Try again. Okay. I'm drawing on the wrong layer for part of the time, obviously. What do we got here? Ooh, how did I miss all this? It was a major dough moment. What was the major dough moment? I got a ticket yesterday for not brushing the snow off my car. That sucks. What? That's insane, says Les. How much is the ticket? $171 for not brushing the snow off your car? Come on. That's nerd. All right. It was a major noob move on my part. I did bad, Les. But why? How? That's fucked up. I was in a rush to pick up a DoorDash order and dashed out of my home without first brushing snow from all windows. My plan was to brush the snow off after pickup of the food. The restaurant was very close to my home. What's the rationale of that penal code? Oh, right. Brain fart. I forgot that cars move. Rationale is you must be able to see out your vehicle windows. If not, that is dangerous and you might damage people or property. So yeah, I didn't realize you were moving with your snow-covered windows. You know, I've seen lots of people, they just clear like a little porthole in the middle, not the middle, on the left side of their windshield. And they're just peering out of that as they drive. You know, back window completely covered, side windows completely covered. Other people who do brush the snow off their car can see that you haven't, and should simply drive more carefully around you. I cleared some portholes, says Ed. Yeah. So it sucks that you got a ticket, but that particular law, I'm not going to object to it. All right. Have I accomplished anything on this drawing today? Yeah, I guess so. A little something. Little something. Let's see. Oh, yawn. All right, let's put in Derek. Need a tiny little pen nib for this, like an 8. What do we got here? I told him my mom just died, but he wasn't having any of it. I anticipate that soon the law will be defunct and void once cars start driving themselves. Yeah, I think fully autonomous level 5 cars are a ways off yet. This character looks like the love child of Zippy the Pinhead and the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Are you talking about Derek? Let's see. Find a picture of Derek. Here, that's Derek. Okay. So let's get rid of the sketch layers. Let's get rid of this grid layer. Get rid of the sketch. Alright, so now we will duplicate character ink and duplicate character tones. Lessick, your message is being held for review. Please explain why you think it should be shown. Uh-oh. Alright, so now character tones copy. Reverse and delete. And now character tones copy, character ink copy. Delete. Now let's take that one down to here. Merge them. And I turn off character ink and I turn off character tones. Yep, there I am, left with Ed. I just turn Ed on and off. Oh, it's Ed and Derek, of course. So we're just going to call this Ed. I'll just say Ed, because I'm going to remove Derek. All right. So now I'm going to move Ed down here and shrink her a bit. What is going on? Oh, I see. No, I don't see. What's happening? Okay, yeah, it's just delayed. All right, I know the chat is in motion. I'm going to look over there again in just a moment. As soon as I get this image selected. There we go. And let's fix that. And that. All right. Let's see. This is your opportunity to file an appeal. I don't. My comment had no redeeming value, just impulsively thinking out loud via chat. Imagine crypto tickets for such violations in the future. Very well, I shall keep it in held status, lest the artist's feelings be hurt by it. No, Kemo's skin is as thick as my comment. Will you be getting the vaccine when it's your turn, Les? Are you more a Pfizer, Moderna, or AstraZeneca type guy? Nope. I'm champing at the bit to get mine. Good on you, Ed. Good on you for champing at the bit. I assume AstraZeneca. I think they have a lower market cap. Well, Ed, there's two possibilities for the vaccine. Alas, I think I will have to wait until well after my return from Mexico in February, in my estimation. What are the two possibilities? All right, so character ink, character tones, and we'll just move Ed down here. And turn the sketch back on. Oh, what's going on? One, they already have the vaccine available, which suggests that a disingenuousness on their part and obfuscated objectives. What is the second possibility? Two, they really did fashion the vaccine in super duper incredible record time, in which case it's extremely risky to take. Usually the necessary time for such vaccines is years. Yeah. Side effects, both long-term and short-term, are unknown. I watched the film Camo recommended to me and really enjoyed it. What film was that? Was that Into the Spider-Verse? Oh, Cabin in the Woods. Yeah, it was a major hoot. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is a hoot. A hoot and a half, I'd say. And what a cast, huh? What a cast in that movie. And so that movie was a film that the studio that had it made didn't know if it was good or not. They didn't know what to do with it, so they just sat on it for years. They didn't release it. And then I guess they released it when Chris Hemsworth started getting big because he was Thor. And they're like, hey, we've got a Chris Hemsworth movie just sitting here in the vault. Why don't we release it? Empower Clinics Inc. is coming out with a saliva test for COVID-19. It's currently 25 cents Canadian. Wow. That's the stock price, right? Not the price for the test. Uh-oh. My phone has made a noise that I should investigate. Okay, hey, oh no, I can do that right here. It was coming in on WhatsApp. I bet it was Bronwyn. Let's see. Yep. Bronwyn says, thanks, that was much fun. Love to do it again sometime. Double exclamation point. I will respond right on. Okay. Test price is $150 Canadian. Okay. So everybody, I'm closing down the stream. Thanks for participating. Talk to you again soon. Continue to compare stocks in the chat.